Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ann Luna, and this is Bass Bites. My intention with these short videos is to give you a little digestible tip, a trick, a lick, some kind of thought that hopefully you can take to your bass playing and help make your life better. Welcome to basses that you might encounter, or at least types of basses, right? Obviously, I don't have everything, but I have a pretty good sampling of types of basses you may run across. So, first up, what we're going to do is look at the difference between a bass and a cello. The main difference between a cello and a bass, besides the size, is how it is tuned. So, a cello is tuned in fifths and basses are tuned in fourths. So, the lowest note on a cello is a C. And if we have standard cello tuning, we have C, G, D, and A. A cello can be tuned like a bass. There's special strings that are sold that are in fourths so then your low C would then be a low E, but an octave up from a double bass. So, but then your fingering and your spread and your bass lines are going to be more accessible on a cello. However, you can still play bass lines on the cello, and often the cello voice is used as that supportive low end that the bass is. So what I want to do now with the remaining basses is just to let you hear what they sound like purely acoustically. Later we'll plug some of them in and look at maybe some miking techniques and differences between amps. We probably won't get too deep into that because that's but mostly for comparison's sake. All right, so I'm going to move the cello aside. First I want to show you these basses, introduce you to them, let you hear what they sound like. Let's start with the oldest bass that I have here. I have a 1946 C1K. It's a laminate bass. These are kind of the bluegrass standard and can be highly sought after depending on what type of music you're playing. So let's meet Dudley, so named. So that was the previous owner's name. This is Dudley. If we're going in order of age, this 92-93 Fender Precision Lyte bass that's made in Japan is up next. And we'll plug it in later, but just so you can hear what it's like purely acoustic. But the tuning is the same, G, D, A, E, okay? This is a 2000 Eminence Portable upright bass. To my knowledge, they do not make these anymore. One of the benefits to these whenever they were making them, besides being small, is that certain models had this removable neck. And so you'd screw this off, loosen the strings, take off the bridge, and then it could be packed down for easier travel for flight or whatever your travel needs. And with a little bit more of an acoustic body than just a stick bass, you've got just a different sound. So this is what it is like, purely acoustic. Right? So So, they're kind of cool. They always, whenever I play this out on a gig, people always ask me what it is. And so it's conversation piece, if nothing else. We'll hear it plugged in a little bit later. You can see that to make up for that lack of bulk, you have this removable piece here, so that can tuck into your hip. At the base here, it can move side to side. It doesn't move in any other direction as easily. That's just what the joint and the pivot is on this particular one. So this one has been marked on the side where your 3rd, 5th, and 7th frets would be, but it did not come that way. Next up, we have, this is from around 2004. This is a Crafters of Tennessee resophonic bass, and also to my knowledge, they don't make these anymore. The maker actually passed away in 2023. This is a 2002 Semmlinger bass. It's made in Germany. It's got a fully carved back, sides, top. Unlike the K bass, which is fully laminated, right? So we'll look at some of those differences. Next up, this is a 2006 Christopher bass. The difference on this one than the other uprights is that it has a 5th string. So you have your typical 4 strings that you do on other basses, right? Your G, D, A, E, and now a 5th below an E is this B. If you do go to a 5 string and you're used to always having your E as your lowest string, to me that's one of the biggest things to get used to, besides the bigger, chunkier neck and just the different sound. And you can hear all of these basses have just a little bit of a different voice, even all of the uprights. Our last guy to introduce you to today, this is a 2023 Gold Tone mini bass. It's similar to ukulele or U basses. It has these rubber polymer strings that are really stretchy. They're also really comfortable under your fingers, so that can be a nice option of kind of like the friendly way to get into playing bass and not worrying about strings that are going to eat up your fingers. We'll hear it plugged in later too, so. So here, because the frets are so much closer together on the upright, is my fingering's going to be a little different. Whereas on the upright, I've got a spread of a whole step from my index finger to my pinky. Here, that whole step is going to be from my index finger to my ring finger, or conversely from my middle to my pinky. So I'm basically covering 1 fret with each finger. And I can't quite do that in half and first positions, which are the lower positions on the upright, and be comfortable and get where I need to go. So that's one of the differences, that even though they're tuned the same, and you may play the same notes, your fingering may be different. And while we're on that topic, and we'll dive into this later, closed versus open strings, how to use them, when to use them. We'll look at how they sound and on different basses, since we've got all of these to compare, which is pretty fun. And so even here, if I'm doing this, this E, there's a little bit of a different tone, right? So we'll dive into that more later. This is the quick intro today. There will be more. I've got to make it to a gig. Stay tuned. I'm Ann Luna. You can drop me a line either here or via email or my website. Thanks as always for your time, your attention, your positive feedback, and your good questions. Thanks again. We will talk to you soon.